Hello everybody, and welcome to my sketchbook tour. This is actually a very old sketchbook from a couple years ago, but we're going to go through and see what I was doing. So for this one, it looks like I was sketching out some heads and doing very cartoony stuff. My snake is awful. Over here, the one on the left is a fantasy landscape. I think it's the first time I tried drawing a landscape since I was small, and I didn't mind it too much. Here is my first attempt at watercolor. I'm fairly happy with the head for my skill level at the time, and I'm very happy with the rocks. I really caught the snow that I wanted to. The one on the left here is a copy of an art lesson I was supposed to be doing, so I did not come up with that artwork, I just copied it. And the one on the right is actually one that I did. I'm still extremely proud of this art piece. It turned out exactly the way I wanted, and that rarely happens, especially in this era. The one on the left was... Both of these are obviously failures in my mind, but they're not failures because I learned something from them. The one on the right is supposed to be crocuses. Here we are practicing crocuses again. I was experimenting with watercolor at the time. I'm still not very good at it, but I keep trying, and I'm a lot better than I was. On the right is a self-portrait. My anatomy studies are a lot better than they were. Here's another picture I was very proud of. Over the months, I got a lot better at watercolor and drawing things. This does have some fundamental problems with it, but I really enjoy the feeling of it, and I would totally live in that house. I have no idea what that symbol on the right is. On the left, I was making some logos for my husband's channel, Madstash. He does mostly cycling. And on the right, I was trying to copy the look of a medieval manuscript. I think I did very well on that. I'm very proud of this one. I might redraw it sometime in the future, though, to see what my current style would look like attempting something like this. On the left is something I'm very proud of. I was inspired by an artist that I saw on YouTube, and I wanted to try something in a similar style. So this is called Rebirth. It is the spirit of the buffalo coming back to the land after years of being so endangered and finally starting to come back. Here we have a painting I'm very proud of, and another painting that I'm also very proud of. The cougar, unfortunately, I cannot use for anything because it's very closely copied to a reference because I was learning at the time, and that's okay. But I can't really use it for anything. The one on the right, people seem to find really nice and like it a lot. The colors didn't quite work the way I wanted, but it turned out looking good. On the left is an idea I had for a Halloween costume that year that never got done, and on the right is some preliminary sketches for a piece I actually completed later that year. Here are some more pieces. The whole goal was to have a silhouetted version of the Fairy Queen rising, and I wanted just white and black. I wanted the Fairy Queen and her cohorts to be in silhouette and be very contrasty. I could not find the finished painting before I recorded this, however. Here is the early sketch, so you can see what the painting kind of ended up looking like. This is just a value study. I was very happy with it. Another one I want to revisit in the future, but I think I did a very good job on this. It really makes me excited to look at it. Here's the start of Inktober of 2018. It's the only year I ever did Inktober. Those are my thumbnail sketches for what I wanted to do for every painting, and these are the paintings. The first one is supposed to be a rubber band squeezing the heart. They do have titles at the bottom, but this is supposed to be mindless. I thought, what better way to do mindless than to do a war one? This is one of my better drawings, I would say. I really liked it. My mother wasn't too happy with it, but who cares what she thinks? I'm out of the house, right? Just kidding. Love you, Mom. On the other hand, my mom did love this one. This is Bait. I thought it was really cute. It's something my son would definitely try to do, catch a skunk using a cupcake. It's really adorable. Over here we have Build, and I thought of building storm clouds. I like the line work on this, and I need to practice this more. That was a weird jump. This is a Not so pleased with attempt at drawing a frozen waterfall with people climbing up it. Here we have huskies, so I drew a literal husky because I couldn't think of anything else that day. Pay no attention to the fact that the feet are actually backwards to how they should be. That's our little secret. Seriously, they're backwards, don't tell anyone. I really like this one as well. I need to focus more on ink work again. This is Enchanted. I wanted to make a very scary standing stone in the middle of a frozen lake. The runes are actually not good runes. This is Frail. I drew the Fairy Queen again, because I like the Fairy Queen, but I wanted to show that she's being frail since all the forests are being cut down, so I drew her in her weakened state. I'm very pleased with the eerie feeling this gives, while at the same time being a little bit mournful. This is Swing. I couldn't come up with a better idea, so I drew this one, and oddly enough, people seem to like this one kind of the best of a lot of my Inktober drawings. For this one, I did pattern. I really like the patterns on bees and wasps, and so I drew this. Unfortunately, I also left it upside down when filming this. I don't remember the prompt for this one, but it's supposed to be a snowstorm getting ready to pounce on an unsuspecting town. I really think the fox is cute, and I'm not happy with the foreground, but the rest I did pretty well on. For this one, my concept was, what if a dragon was like a puppy? So we had a little mischievous dragon going around and chewing on people's shoes underneath the house. For this one, this was Yggdrasil. And Yggdrasil, yes, was in Norse mythology as a tree. One of the trees, yeah, sorry. For Overgrown, I did this. I really liked the concept of the overgrown grave, and I was happy with the textures. This painting I love the life of. It's kind of Anne-inspired, but not quite. I did use a reference for this, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. For this one, I wanted to show a tree that somebody has tied their loved one's belongings to, waiting for them to come back with the tide. Like a fisherman's wife. This was a request. Somebody wanted me to draw a turtle climbing a tree for the theme Misfit. So I did the best I could. I think it turned out really cute and gets the point across. I need to be better at trees, I noticed while doing this, so I did a lot of practice. This was Sling. I do practice an art called rope dart, which is a martial art, and so I decided I would draw that because you tend to sling it around when you dance with it. This was Tread, and I thought of two things when Tread came up. I thought of a tire from a mountain bike because my husband bikes, and I thought of a rattlesnake. So what better way to come up with a theme than to put the two together? For treasure, books are always the best treasure I can have, and so I have this picture. I think it's really cute. For Ghost, I've always been fascinated with thylacines, and the fact that people claim to still see them around is interesting for me. But if you see them around and they're not proven, aren't they really a ghost? So I drew a thylacine for Ghost. The one on the left was my first attempt. I tried to draw the thylacine's patterns through the leaves, but it got lost, so I redid it. This one, if you look closely, is actually the world serpent. If you notice, that's a huge eyeball just opening and the mountains are crumbling around it. What you think is a shadow is actually the pupil. I really liked it, but I hit it a little too well. People didn't see it very good. This is for the theme Ancient. If you notice the upside down falling trees and boulders too. I really like the pattern of this. This is Dizzy. I drew two slugs mating, which sounds really weird, but I really like how this one turned out. The pattern's in contrast. It just has a nice graphic feel. This is Tasty. I couldn't think of another thing for Tasty, so I just drew my husband as a little bit of a joke. His head's a little bit short here, but it really captured his essence. He's wonderfully creepy, in a good way. This was dark. I was experimenting with an ink wash. I didn't get as dark as I wanted to, but I didn't have the time that day. For coat, I drew a character in a coat in the style of a film I was watching at the time. I like the movement of it. For ride, I drew a kelpie. I really like kelpies. They're this wonderful water fae. Well, they're not so wonderful. They're fairly evil that will drag you down to the bottom of the lake and eat you. And I always thought that that's what they looked like. This is a shark that has had its fins cut off and thrown back in. This was a commentary on the shark fishing trade. I don't remember what the prompt was for. For catch, I decided it would be really funny to have a trebuchet throwing at a castle saying, "Catch me if you can." I really like the style of this, and it looks like it belongs in a storybook. I'm going to have to revisit this style again. There's a lot of styles in this sketchbook I want to revisit. For the last day, I decided to do a negative painting. This is ripe, so I actually painted it with the intention of inverting the colors. There's a mushroom I practiced on after Inktober was over. I really gained some skills during that Inktober. This is a poem I wrote. There is nothing wild in the world anymore. Well, you can read it yourself. Just pause. I apologize for my handwriting. This is a character I want to draw more of. She has had a mastectomy, and she travels around to different planets. I haven't decided what she does or what her motivations are. She just appeared in my mind, and I really want to keep going with her. These are my first attempts at Art Nouveau. I really wanted to do this Dreamcatcher character because my favorite band is Dreamcatcher. There's the final sketch I ended up doing. I need to revisit that idea again. I need to redo this entire sketchbook, which is why I'm looking at it. On the left are some hairpins I would love to design and wear, but I don't know how to do that. And on the right are some concept sketches for some folk art foxes. Here I am attempting portraits. This is before I started taking anatomy and portraiture seriously. On the left is my puppy cuddling me, and on the right is my first attempt at using gold. I really liked how the gold turned out, and the fox is gorgeous. I designed a logo for a place I had seen called Lookout Mountains in Spearfish, South Dakota. I was practicing with learning different shadow patterns on mountains. Here we are back to those cartoon heads again. I really like the guy on the upper right. This is Mr. Brown. He is a character I'm developing. He might turn into a Mrs. Brown or a Miss Brown. We'll see. But he's supposed to be a short little head of NASA. Here I am practicing some heads. And that looks like that's all I had in this sketchbook. I thought I had finished it, but apparently not. But that's okay, whoever truly finishes a whole sketchbook. So I hope you enjoyed that. I will do some more sketchbook things in the future, and as always, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.